What up, what up, what up? I want to welcome everybody to the On the Mat podcast. I'm Coach Paul. That handsome young man over there is my co-host Jay, and today we have something very special for y'all. I know we said that we were going to be on a little hiatus over the summer so we could have a little break and get ready for next season. Well, me and Jay have been working and sitting down and talking. We've been talking a little bit, and we got a little surprise for you. So welcome to our summer kickoff episode. We're going to start this episode with Jay giving us some transfer news. So, Jay, go ahead and give them these news, brother.
Thank you, Paul. It's a pleasure to be back.
Yeah.
Good hiatus, a little bonus episode for the viewers, our summer kickoff, or I like to call it a bit of more of a summer prediction episode for us, as you guys will see later in the episode. But before we get into that, we're going to have a little segment that me and Coach Paul just called it the transfer updates. So, for context, for all the viewers out there, I run the LA City Section football page. It's literally search up LA, capital L, capital A, City Section, and that's me, City Section U. So I run that. I post a bunch of transfers, coaching hires, rule changes, schedule releases, etc., etc. And Coach Paul and I thought it would be a good idea to just share some of the marquee transfers that have happened this summer. And yeah. And a little disclaimer, I won't say any Narbonne transfers because here's the answer. Everybody on the varsity roster transferred out. And if you guys want to see where they transferred to, go to my Twitter page. My pinned tweet is an Excel sheet, and I track every transfer I'm knowledgeable of. It's not every transfer in the city section, but every transfer that I'm aware of. It's up to 3 sheets. It's probably close to 100 transfers on there. So check it out. A little self plug for me. But without further ado, let's get into it. So the transfer updates. Let's start out. I did it 5 in and 5 out. So I'll start with the 5 major transfers of players leaving a city section school. Number 1, we have 3-star left tackle or offensive lineman rather, LaShawn Jackson, who is now at LA Cathedral, and he transferred from Dorsey. He'll be a big piece for Cathedral. He's a great player. He has one offer from Sacramento State, and he's 6'5", 6'6", hyper athletic. Big loss for Dorsey, big win for Cathedral.
Absolutely.
The second one I have is class of 28 middle linebacker Richard Dunn, who is a first-team All-City linebacker as a freshman, transferring to Notre Dame and Sherman Oaks from Hamilton in LA.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. Coach Asante typically doesn't lose players. He lost one here, but Notre Dame's a great program, and Richard Dunn is a great player. He's only going to be a sophomore, so great potential. This next one is a familiar name for Coach Paul and I. It's left tackle Roscoe Jasper, transferring to Cherry Creek in Colorado, and he left Fairfax in Hollywood. He only played football his first year, his last season. So his junior year was his first year playing football. Yeah. But he has the build. He has the mechanics of a Division I guy. So from what I hear...
Isn't the school he's going to like a powerhouse in Colorado too?
Powerhouse, I'm not sure, but I know they win a state title. And you have to be pretty good to win a state title at any level.
Okay. So, I use the word powerhouse loosely, my fault. But they won a state title.
Well, they won a state title. Take that what you will.
Yeah.
So Cherry Creek is getting a great guy, a potential D1 guy in Roscoe Jasper. The fourth one that I have is class of 26 wide receiver LeHenry Solomon has checked out of Palisades, and he is now at Chaminade Prep in West Hills. He's a 4'4" laser guy, super speedy. This transfer will kind of make sense in my next section when I talk about transfers in. Super speedy, holds 2 Division I offers, I think 3 actually. And Chaminade is a great team in the southern section that's going to play a damn tough teams in non-league, and they have a very tough league that they're in, Sierra Canyon, I believe, et cetera, et cetera. So, we ball out over there. And then the last one that I have, the last major transfer that I have out of the city section is class of 27 athlete Malachi Brown, who left Venice and is now at Lusinger. This was one of the early transfers. He basically transferred over the winter break, and he's been at Lusinger since the start of last semester.
Yeah.
Class of 27, he got a super early offer from Kent State, D1 guy, and he's going to ball out at Lusinger, much like LeHenry Solomon. Lusinger, great program, just like Chaminade. So, and LeHenry and Malachi will be playing great teams this upcoming season. So that concludes our transfers out. Do you have any comments, questions on those transfers, Paul?
My thing is with Henry, like, look, so I don't want to I don't know. Like after the video came out after the fires, right? And they all stood
Mm-hmm.
testament, they all stood strong, and they all made the video. He was one of the main people that said he was going to stay. Like I understand why he left, because you'll get in once you talk about like your transfers in, people will get context. Like, so I'm not mad that he left. I'm wishing he would have stayed, because if they were able to make a run with what you're going to talk about next, with him as a piece and Jack Thomas already, I think, dude, that would have been a remarkable story, especially with the tragedy that they faced. So, like, I'm not mad, like, and I'll never be mad at a kid that chooses to make a transfer based on their future. I just would have liked to see him stay. Have on that one.
Agreed. Not mad at all. It would have been cool, really, really cool to see
Yeah.
LaHenry and the guy that we're going to talk about that I'm
Right.
going to talk about in a few seconds. But I support what he does, and him being at Chaminade, honestly, he'll probably get more college attention at
Yeah.
Chaminade rather than Palisades. That's probably the cold hard truth. But best of luck to you, LaHenry.
Yes,
So
sir.
now transfers in. We'll start off. We'll start last to first. So one of the major ones that I have is Tyler Oden, class of 26 wide receiver, has left Dorsey and he is now at Hamilton in LA. Coach Asante, as his famous saying, I don't recruit, I attract. Clearly, it's worked somewhat.
Right.
So Tyler Oden, a very good receiver at Dorsey, is now at Hamilton. The next one I have is class of 27, I believe, wide receiver, Jordan Daniel, who left Compton Dominguez and is now at Carson. He is
Okay.
a very shifty player, very fast. He will be another weapon to add to a Carson team that has six guys with at least one Division I offer, and he will be a new weapon for Chris Fields,
Yeah.
who's top two quarterback in the LA City section.
Yes.
And number three, I have Elijah McDaniel, who is a class of 28 quarterback who left Warren, which is a Southern Section school and a pretty good one too, and is now at Dorsey, and he's going to be the gunslinger for Deuce Johnson, his dad Stephon Johnson. So I'm super
Okay.
excited for that. Mainly because he didn't start his whole freshman year at Warren, but he did play a few games and he looked capable. I'll say
Yeah.
that. He didn't look great. He didn't look bad. He looked capable, and doing that for a team like Warren against that Southern Sections teams. Actually, I believe one of the teams he played against was a top team in Kentucky, but the point still stands.
Yeah.
If you can look, what's the word? Capable, yeah. If you can
Okay.
look capable against these really, really good teams, you'll do good in the city section. Dual
Yeah.
threat as well. So I'm really, really excited about what he and Dorsey are going to do. And then the second to last one I have is class of 27 wide receiver Paul Turner Jr. left Palmdale and is now at Birmingham, the city section powerhouse. This one I like. He has one Division I offer already from Colorado State. Super fast, great hands. He's just going to be another weapon for Kevin Hawkins. And man, the rich get richer, as they say. But I'm not complaining because Birmingham, they're a damn good team, and I want to see him beat some Southern Section teams, to be honest, in the
Yeah.
Mountain League. I'll say it now. So super excited for that. And then the last one, the biggest one, this guy's a national recruit. I saw a post actually, I think 2 days ago. It was some recruiting website. It said top 10 class of 27 recruits in California. This young man was in it. DeMar DeZern. I believe that's how you say his last name. If you're watching DeMar, I'm sorry, but his first
Yeah.
name's DeMar. Class of 27, 4-star wide receiver, has left Bishop Alemany and is now at Palisades, the school that
Yeah.
LaHenry Solomon has left. This guy, quite frankly, I'll just say it straight, and I think everybody will agree with me when I say he's going to be the best player talent-wise in the city section. 4-star wide receiver. He plays safety as well. He broke the 100-meter state record as a freshman. He's a national recruit. The same way Jaden O'Neal was a national recruit at Narbonne last year, this guy will be
Yeah.
this guy is a national recruit. And he picked a very, very, very good place to go because he picked a school that has the best returning QB in the city section and Jack Thomas. So we'll dive in more into Palisades a little later because we'll talk about that for
Yeah.
sure. But yeah, those are the major transfers. And like I said earlier, if you want to see the full list of transfers that I'm aware of, check out my Twitter. It's just LA City Section, capital L, capital A, City Section, no space, no nothing. You'll see me. First tweet is a spreadsheet. I have transfers from every school, from Palisades to View Park, Crenshaw, Southeast, all
Yeah.
these schools. So check it out. And that's it for me.
Hey, so a little birdie told me that we may have some action from a superstar in the Eastern League leaving the Eastern League.
Interesting.
The word on the street is this individual has already left. Like I asked a little bit more questions, and it's just kind of we're going off of like what they talked about. So I don't know how much of it's true, but once we talk off air and you start checking bios, that's gonna shake up that's gonna definitely shake up the landscape of the Eastern League for sure. Can't wait. I hope it's not true, but if it is true, best of luck, man.
Off air, we'll talk about it. I'm excited to
Yes,
hear what
sir.
you have.
Yes, sir. I'll text you right now. Yeah. I
All
don't
right,
even
go ahead.
mind it. I don't even care. I'll text you right now.
All righty. All right, sounds good.
So now that we've done the transfers, man, like the way city section football is going to pan out this year, I am very excited. Like we've got some notable athletes in the surrounding areas, like in all three divisions, which we're going to talk about right now. Like me and Jay, we've been, as we discuss these transfers, we kind of we've been discussing like the landscape, we should say, of how this is all going to play out. So me and Jay are going to give blind reveals for our top 3 Division 3 teams, top 3 Division 2 teams, our top 5 Division 1 teams, and then we're going to give you who we think is going to make the open.
Mm-hmm.
So without further ado, let's start off with Division 3.
Do you want to go one person gives their 3, or do you want to go one on one? Like you give one, I give one, you give one, I give one. What
Let's
do you want to
go. Let's go. I give one, you give one.
do? Okay, you start. You
All right.
start. I'm excited.
All right. So this is and I'm very specific with mine, Jay. Like, I don't know how specific you are with yours, but I got really detailed with this just because we were really involved in the playoffs last year with like giving announcements and breaking these teams down. So I went into a little bit of depth. So my top D3 team for next year will be Los Angeles High School. And this is why. After going 9-4 last season, they went 5-0 in league. They lost a tough one to Panorama, but that's the team that won the championship.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to beat a team twice because they had beat them earlier in the year, right? So they play them again in the playoffs. They lose a tough one. But honestly, I think Coach Jackson has got these young men hungry, dude. So that's my number 1 D3 team. Like, they could obviously elevate, but like I feel as of right now, just of where they're at, like their next step is to be the top of D3.
I'm gonna do a little cop out, not necessarily cop out.
Okay.
I had Los Angeles in my top 3 as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I had LA High. I think Coach Jackson, what he's doing is, man, I'm at a loss for words for what he does for that program.
Yeah.
They have a shot caller now in D3. If you have if you decent quarterback in D3 with a few weapons, you can go far. I'm a testament to it. My team won D3, and we had a pretty good quarterback. So a good quarterback, and the kid I'm talking about is Ethan Grant, who will only be a sophomore next year.
Yeah.
A lefty, by the way, which I love seeing QBs who throw with their left. I don't know why. It's more of an aesthetic thing than anything, but
yeah,
just had to throw that out there. And yeah, I mean, I have faith in Coach Jackson in recruiting on campus and developing the guys that he does have on that team. And I know they did lose one big piece, Makairo, who I believe will be a sophomore this upcoming season, to Salesian. He's not Salesian, so they did lose a big piece, a D lineman right there, but I'm not worried about that.
Yeah. All right. Who do you got as your number 2 team?
My number 2 team is going to be Van Nuys. Van Nuys because they went far last year in D3. They're returning their starting quarterback, who's pretty good, Carlos Herrera. Apologies, but I can't remember the head coach's name, but he quite literally drugged that program from the tombstone. Okay. I mean, you're talking about very minimal participation, low numbers, losing seasons like 0-10, like. So, and now to potentially competing for a Division 3 title, that's great. And they also have 2 transfers in, 2 wide receivers, so new weapons for QB Carlos Herrera, both coming from Grant, and I believe Grant is in Van Nuys. So Grant High School in Van Nuys. The number 1 wide receiver, Samuel Villagrana, I think that's how you say his last name, and Sean Palomino. 2 wide receivers, very good, and new weapons to add to this Van Nuys team. So yeah. That's kind of my synopsis on Van Nuys.
All right, so my number 2 team is TAP. So, like, when you look at their league, man, their league is a gauntlet, right? So Chatsworth is in their league. They were the second to last team in their league, and they beat us for the D2 championship, right? So looking at their preseason this year, they can easily go 3-2 or 2-3 in preseason. Hell, to be honest with you, even if they go 1-4 in preseason and don't win a league game, they'll definitely be at the top. They'll definitely be top 2 of D3 just based on their schedule alone. Like, their schedule is it's nice. Like, strength of schedule will get them like top 2 easy. if I'm comparing last year to this year, and that's kind of what I like went into it. I looked at their little playoff run, like they were ranked fourth, and then like I easily top two for D3. Yeah.
Man,
So go ahead.
just because I'm a Taft alum, I'm gonna agree with you. I know
Yeah.
Coach Randolph, who was the JV head coach when I my senior year, who is now the varsity head coach. I know he took over. He's very involved on campus with clubs, the BSU, I believe.
Yeah.
I know their quarterback, Nathan Swinson, he will be returning for his senior year. He's
Okay.
pretty good. So I'm excited to see. I got full belief in my Toreadors. They won D3 a couple years ago. They could, with me, and they can win it again.
That's right.
So I love that
Hey,
choice.
so my number 3 team is a definite sleeper. And when I say this, I hope nobody takes this out of context. I hope they don't feel I'm being disrespectful when I say it, because I'm putting this away that it's not a bad thing the way I say it. So I feel that this team's ceiling is like 12 to 16 in D2. I mean, their floor, like, yeah, their ceiling is 12 to 16 in D2, and their floor is 1, 2, or 3 in D3. So I have them 3, but it's Chavez. Like, they were ranked third last year in the playoffs. With this being like an 8-team league, like their preseason is what determines where they're at. 3 preseason and then 7 league games. It's just, let's get to it. So I think where they fall just depends on how well their preseason turns out, along with their league and who they're like. Their league is the same thing. If they have weak preseasons and you beat them and their season's weak, like, you see what I'm saying? So ceiling is the bottom half of D2, the ceiling, and then the floor would be the top 3 in D3. So that's not bad. So please don't take it that way.
I like that choice. I'm not gonna sit here and try to talk too much about Chavez. Quite frankly, I don't know much about him. I know they lost Jacob De Silva, 26 linebacker, who's not Kennedy. But I mean,
Yeah.
looking at the league, that league looks pretty open. They might not win the league or contend for the league, but I mean, like you said, Coach Paul, it's like an 18 league.
Yeah.
You know, North Hollywood graduated a lot of people. Our leader is always, we know what our leader is, a very good D2 team. So that league is wide open, and I won't be surprised if I see Chavez at the top of D3 or making a run in D.
Yeah. All right. So now D2. Go ahead. You go first.
I still have
Oh
one
yeah.
more.
Oh yeah. Go D3.
They,
My bad. Last one. You're
yeah,
D. Yeah.
no. So for my last Division 3 school, I have a school that I'm surprised you didn't put. It's Fremont High School. And the reason I
Man.
put Fremont is because of their new head coach, Derek Benton.
Okay.
He has experience winning a title in D3 with LA Jordan a few years ago, and he rebuilt LA Jordan into a respectable program. And I have no doubt in my mind he can do the same thing with Fremont. They have 2 additions as well. Elijah Ware, class of 26, DB transfer from Burroughs and Burbank, and
Yeah.
Johnny Pascal, another DB transfer. I'd imagine they both play receiver as well.
Yeah.
So
Probably.
2 new additions. And this next guy definitely helped Fremont's case. If you have a USC commit on your team, you're going to be a contender in D3. And his name is Andrew Williams, class of 26 edge. He's really an athlete, but they're saying he's going to play edge in college. But I'll just call him an athlete. Class of 26
Yeah.
athlete, Andrew Williams, 3-star USC commit. A USC commit against D3 competition, and this is not a shot at D3. You sometimes just have to recognize that there's levels to it. A USC commit is a USC commit, and I have no doubt in my mind he'll be a huge part of the offense and defense. And it's really who can stop Andrew Williams. Whoever stops
Yeah.
Andrew Williams will be Fremont, and that's why I have him as one of my contenders for D3. And that wraps up D3.
I like that. I like that. That caught me off. That was a good surprise there, brother. I like that one. I like that one a
Nice.
lot. For real. That
All
was a good
right.
one.
So
All
now
right.
we're heading to Division 2. I will go first, and then
All
we'll give
right.
it to Coach Paul. So for my first one, I mentioned them a little bit, is our leader. And the reason I put him in is because they're always a top seed. They have experience in D2. They just haven't gotten the monkey off the back, and they haven't won the D2 title. So just because of that, I'm sure the coach and staff has a lot of experience in D2, and I'm going to just back them strictly for experience.
All right. So this team that I put at the top of D2 is probably going to look at me and be like, I'm out of my mind. But I'm not really out of my mind, because I'm not being disrespectful in any way. By the way, this is another one of the ceiling is higher than what the floor is, but the floor is really high. So I have Crenshaw as the top of my D2 division. They finished third in their league last year. They had a dogfight with the number one team in D1 that was ranked Eagle Rock in the first round of the playoffs. So I have them at the top of D2 or like 12 through 16 in D1. It could be higher in D1 just based off of what happens during preseason again. But the reason why I mentioned preseason is because they're playing Long Beach Poly this season. That will determine where they're at. Like, I'm not saying one school, but having Long Beach Poly in your preseason, that is legit. And if you have a good outing against it, because Crenshaw is always a good program. Always. They're always on the upper echelons of high school football. They always make good runs like towards make good title runs no matter what division they're in, right? But just based off of last year and going into this year, like I said, lower tier of the D1, like 12 through 16. It could be higher based off that Long Beach Poly game, but if they don't make D1, they're definitely the number one team in D2.
Okay, I have them too, but I want to make a slight correction. I don't think they're playing Long Beach Poly because they have August 29th. They have 2 games slotted. They have LA Jordan and Long Beach Poly, and vice versa. Long Beach Poly has Crenshaw scheduled and who else? And Lincoln of San Diego scheduled. So I think that's a mistake, but your point still stands. I have them as well as a contender in Division Two.
Me.
Yeah. When I heard that, I was like, no way. Like, I know Long Beach Poly was down last year, but no, like, they're gonna kill them. So I'm hoping it's a mistake. I think it's a mistake, but Coach Paul's point still stands. I mean, the fact that Coach Garrett can make, and if I'm correct me if I'm not wrong, maybe 2 or 3 years ago they made it to the D1 final and lost by 1 score to Banny.
I believe so.
The fact that Coach Robert Garrett, excuse me, can do so much with so little is amazing. They have Samuel Richard, who's a really good running back that's returning, and they also have 2 transfers coming in, both from Eno Robinson, which is an 8-man football program, but it's a pretty good 8-man football team. They have class of 26 wide receiver Jason Piper, I believe is how you say his last name, and then a 27 linebacker DeAndre Kirkpatrick. Quite frankly, there's not film on them, but if you play and start at Amino Robinson, yes, it's 8-man. I'm assuming you're good, or at the very least have something to you. Yeah. And 2 more players to this Crenshaw roster who's famously known, unfortunately, these past half decade for having very, very low numbers, essentially.
Right, yeah.
Two players can make a difference, 22 to 24.
Absolutely.
Or 20 players to 22 players will make a difference. So that's why I also back them in D2.
Absolutely. Nice. All right, so my next one?
Or yes, sir.
Okay. So when I said I was going to be very specific, I'm being very specific. This is not a slight. This is just my complete observation. But I know for a fact these 3 teams are going to be pissed off that I did this. So for number 2, it's 3 teams. And this is because it can fluctuate in any order. So I have Arleta, which is ranked 16th in D1 right now. Chatsworth, which is ranked 4th in D2 right now. And Sylmar, which currently, and these are all according to Max Prep's rankings, right? So Sylmar's ranked number 2 in D2. But I feel that all 3 of these teams, they're the same. They're all equal. Like, I'm not trying to take anything away from them, but it's those 3 teams are gonna Crenshaw goes D2, Crenshaw's number 1, and then number 2 will be one of these 3 schools. If Arleta's been in D2, 2 years in a row?
Something like that, more or less.
Or something like that. They could have gone up and down. So coaches from Arleta, I apologize. But my thing is okay, even if you're in the bottom of D1, okay, cool. So then Chatsworth goes to D2, and everyone's going to be like, well, they beat you guys for the championship last year. Yes, this is true, but I'm sorry, they're not a D1 team yet. They're not. Like, now, if they go undefeated and they beat some teams that are on their schedule, I looked at their schedule. Yeah, they could be at the bottom half of D1. They could. Not going to slide them. They could slide into D1. But I don't think their strength of schedule will put them ahead of the teams that don't make open, that drop everybody down. Like, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Sylmar, great team, great program. All 3 of these are great programs, but for me, they're all at the number 2 for D2. Like, it could go either way, but as of right now, I have those 3 teams, one of those 3 teams at D2, and that's kind of where I'm at with that.
I like that. I agree. They're equal. It's hard for me to to really pick who. It just
Yeah,
depends on who has a bad season, who has a good season, and then
exactly.
that'll dictate the seeding. And my last team for Division 2 will be University. Yeah, University. They went 2-9 last year. They started 2-0, and then they lost out. They played in a tough league. They lost a
Right.
couple close ones. The reason I say that is because even last year they just have athletes.
Yeah.
Linemen, okay, you can make an argument that's where they're not the strong suit, but they
Yeah.
have athletes, dude. Like these kids can start at a lot of top end Division 1 teams, in my opinion, and they were really really young last year as well. So add another year of experience, and they also
Yeah.
have who I'm assuming is going to be their main guy at Impact transfer, Kamari Jones, class of 26
Okay.
transferred in from Chicago, I believe Lincoln High School in Chicago or Lincoln
Okay.
Park High School.
Okay.
In Chicago, and he's now here in LA at University. He's a very good player, 6'2", 6'3". Well, I don't know his weight, 170, 160, more or less. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just definitely perhaps a reach. I don't know if they'll actually be contenders, but the reason I put him in is the idea of University. If these
Okay.
guys really developed in 1 year with the athletes they had, found a couple linemen, I believe their quarterback is coming back as well.
Yeah.
Add Kamari Jones to the mix, who I'd imagine they'd put all over the field. And also Brian Robinson. He's building a good program.
Yeah.
Coach Paul and I, for the viewers who don't know, we were going to have him on.
Yeah.
Schedule conflicts, it happens. He's a great coach, and he's building something. I believe he's building something great over there, slowly but surely.
We'll get him on. To just piggyback off that, like to say that they have athletes. Like we got to see them throw this spring. Spring because we're in summer now. He's got some boys over there. He's got some dogs, and if he's able to do what we know he's capable of doing, which is being a great coach and being able to get these kids on the same page, University will make some noise, and I like that.
I agree.
My final school in D3 or number 3, but it depends on what number 2 goes, is Legacy. I just think they could be number 3, right? Based off of the Eastern League, it's a gauntlet. The Eastern League's a gauntlet, so 2 of us in this league, the bottom 2 will go D2. Well, the rest, depending on their record, will go higher. They'll end up in 1, right? So I don't know what their returners look like. Man, they went into D2 last year ranked 7th, and I think they have the ability to surprise some people, but I still think they're going to be a young team. And I think that inexperience is not going to allow them to beat many teams in my league. And when I say my league, I'm in the Eastern League. I coach at Southgate. Now, I'm not doing this, guys. Like, I hope everybody that watches the show, and I want to emphasize this isn't a biased thing, because when I get to my later picks, you're going to be like, oh, okay, they're in the Eastern League. They're in the Eastern. Like, yeah, like I give my honest opinion. And when it's me and Jay and we're doing the show, I step outside of my league. I talk. I hold the conversation close to me because I am in the league, but it's not coming from anywhere of like negative, like me trying to be negative or throw shade. But yeah, just based on our league, man, their preseason, we'll see how their preseason goes. But based off of what I see in our league, I don't see them being in the top 3 teams in our league. So that would automatically give them, and if they do better than what they did last year, they obviously got to get ranked higher. So I see them going in at 3. If the 3 teams above them end up there, then they're still at 4 or 5, and they still can make a nice little run. Yeah,
I agree. I'm gonna take your word for it. You're an Eastern League coach. You're an Eastern League guy, so I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, man. Like, it's hard talking about Eastern League teams because I don't want. Like, I'm cool with everybody. Like, I don't want a coach to be like, hey, you were talking shit. And I'm just like, no, I'm just giving my opinion. And if you don't like it, like, I'm sorry. But that's what this show's about. Like, we interview high school athletes. And then when we do shows like this, we're just giving an opinion because we love high school football. We love the city section. So don't think we're being biased. Like, yeah, we give some hometown love to certain people because we can, but it's not, we don't get crazy with it.
Agreed. Let's move on. Division 1, we're getting closer.
Here we go. You want me to do my top 5 first?
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it like that. Stuff.
All right. So, and then we can expand on it later. So, my top 5 for D1, I'm going Gardena number 1, because even if they go, well, they're going to win 1 league game.
Yeah.
So, if they win that 1 league game and just say they don't have a good season, they're still considered probably they're in the best league in the LA City section. So if they're not open, they'll be D1. So I got them not making the open. I have them going 1. Number 2 is Kennedy. Number 3 is Garfield. Number 4 is Southgate. And number 5, I have a tie. It's between Marquez and Cleveland. And I was looking, and it took me a while to do this, right? Like, I was going to put Cleveland above us. I was going to put Marquez above us. Like, I've thrown and I've seen what they have, right? So if we're really going off of last year plus what we've seen this year, it's one of those things where, yes, right now you just got a biased opinion because, like,
Yeah.
It's one of those things where I just feel we're that much better we're just this much better than you. So that's why they're at 5. They're tied for 5 because I feel that we have a certain advantage on both teams. Like, obviously Marquez has Elijah Staples. Cleveland is coached by Coach Guzman, man. Like, that guy is a genius when it comes to coaching, dude. Like, that coach, like him being a coach is just that gives them one up on anybody that they really play, because the man coaches ass off. So those are my 5.
Nice. I like that. I'll give my 5 and we'll discuss.
Okay.
My list is really just contenders. It's not a seeding in any way because I
Okay.
just think it'll be too hard to predict, especially since it's high school football.
Okay.
These are contenders. It's not necessarily a seeding, so anyone can win it. So my contenders are, in no order, by the way: Kennedy, Garfield, Eagle Rock, Gardena, Cleveland, and then I put an honorable mention to Southgate because there's
Nice.
like, yeah, just
Yeah,
had, yeah.
nice. Wait a minute. Did I just heard you say Eagle Rock and D1?
Yes, sir.
I can't wait to hear who made your open then.
Kind of was my open division a bit. When we get there, we'll get there, but I definitely have, I guess you could call it a hot take for who my 8 seed would be. But when
Hey,
we get to it,
stand
we'll get
on
to it.
business, baby.
Of
Stand
course.
on
Always.
business.
Always. But yeah, I mean, when we get to D1, I really like D1 because it's a good mix of unpredictable / good football.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of good teams. You know, Kennedy has been scratching on the open for a while, and they could make the open. I'm not closing that idea out.
Yeah.
Cleveland is always very, very good. They're the first team. I don't want to say they gave Birmingham a challenge, but they didn't lay down. They put up a fight for the first time since Granada Hills when Dijon Stanley was there a couple years ago. You got
Yeah.
Gardena. You got Gardena, who just hired a new coach not too long ago. So they'll be uncertain, but they've been on the rise for the past couple of years. You got Eagle Rock, who returns statistically the best quarterback in the city section last year, Liam Paston or Patson. Sorry, Liam, if you're watching, I'm sorry. I always get your last name confused.
Yeah, right.
Liam P.
Yes.
And from what I've heard, Coach Paul's seen him around at a couple at the showcase and maybe a few scrimmages or whatever. They have a pretty good receivers from what I hear. Who else? Garfield. Garfield is Garfield, man. Tough, hard-nosed. Coach Paul knows him well. I'll probably let Coach Paul talk about Garfield more since they're another Eastern League. And then Southgate, Coach Paul's team. They have a lot of weapons. They did lose Francisco Meza, one of their top receivers, who is now at St. Pius Academy. I believe they'll be fine. They have a lot of weapons, great QB, a top 3 player in Division 1, talent overall. Nicholas Fonseca is coming back, D2 Player of the Year last year. So that's why I'm excited for Southgate. And yes, you guys could all say a little biased because Coach Paul, he's my co-host, he's my good friend. And I have a lot more insight about Southgate than somebody who's not involved with Southgate is.
Yeah. So, like, my take on everything, like, Kennedy has Diego, right? And Diego
Yes,
Meza.
sir. Diego Montes.
Montes, sorry. I know somebody named Diego Meza. My bad. So, Diego Montes. Kid is a stud, bro. Like, the kid is a stud. Gardena has only had, like, a couple people that have, like, been big names. Like, right? They had Xavier Grant last year.
Yeah.
And even though they don't have, like, big time names, they have the athletes. So with the Marine League being what the Marine League is, and it is a complete dogfight, like, the worst that could happen to them is they're number 1 in D. That's not a bad place to be, right? There's a team that you have that I don't have. It's because I have them in another situation. But Garfield and us, Coach Pat, man, like, even though it's his first year as a head coach for Garfield, or it's his first year. Yeah, he's a Garfield guy. Like, there's not going to be a slip off. He may add some things that maybe they needed. Like, and they were still good.
Mm-hmm.
Do I see Garfield potentially making the Open? They could. They could. Anybody can make the Open, but like I honestly feel that us and Garfield are the 1 and 2 teams in the Eastern League. And this is just off of paper. This is off of what I've seen. They've had a couple losses. Like they've had some kids leave. I'm pretty sure that they've had some kids come in. We've had some kids leave. The notable one is Francisco Meza,
Mm-hmm.
but we also had some kids come in that are going to be some game changers. So, like I said, on paper you can look like anything. It all depends on how you play. And then Cleveland and Marquez, man, like I said, they have Elijah Staples. I don't like we threw against them and they have a solid team. Like they have solid athletes. Like they have
Mm-hmm.
kids that have high motors and they're always in D1. Like I haven't seen them in D2 and I try to go back a little bit. They're a D1 team. Like they're either going to be top 5 D1 or they're going to surprise everybody and make the Open. Like that's what it
Mm-hmm.
is. Cleveland as well. Cleveland is the same thing. They're either going to make Open or they're going to be in the top 5 of D1. Like that's what it is. Those two programs are just that good. Like I don't see any slippage of unless they both went like 1-9.
That won't happen.
Yeah, like so I don't see that happening. So that's where I'm at. Like, yeah, you can rank them, you can put them wherever you want. Like right now, Max Preps has us like rank 18th, and some of these teams are higher. There's some teams that are ranked higher than us that I didn't even put in, but it's based off of like what I've seen, some of the transfer stuff that I know that's going on. But at the end of the day, we still got to go out and play football. But those are my top 5. Like those are my top 5 for D1.
Yeah, that's a good list. Just a couple notes before we move on to Open. Gardena, like you said, Coach Paul, great athletes on that team, and quite frankly, they do really good for what their situation is in terms of the football program because they're just so close to Gardena Serra, that Southern Section powerhouse, that it's really just hard to attract notable high school football athletes because they all want to go to Gardena Serra or some
Yeah.
other section school or another city section school. So the fact that they're respectable for sure. Salutes to them. Marquez, I like. Elijah Staples, D1 guy. I saw him at Southgate Showcase about a month ago, a little over a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
Passes the eye test. Kid 6'3", 6'4", 210. He has the build. I don't know if they have enough supporting cast to be a real contender in D1, but they're going to be in D1 for sure. That I will say. Cleveland, like you said, they've always been in D1. They've been in D1 since I was in high school, since I started playing football. And yeah, and there's so many other teams that Coach Paul and I could have mentioned. We could have made like a 3-hour episode, but
Yeah.
who wants to watch a 3-hour episode? So there's other teams, we're not forgetting all you other guys. We just, for the sake of time, we have to cut it down somewhat. So
Yeah.
that's D1.
All right. Now, the moment you guys have all been waiting for, the Open Division. Jay,
Yes,
go ahead and
sir.
kick it off.
Before I kick it off, these ones are ranked. Since there's only 8 teams in the Open and there's not 16 teams, it's a little easier to try to guess who will finish where. So that's why, at least for me, my rankings will be from 1 to 8. So I think this team will finish first. I think this team will finish 8th seed. So starting number 1, I have Birmingham. Number 2, I have Carson. Number 3, I have San Pedro. Number 4, I have Palisades. Number 5, I have King Drew. It's a really 5A and 5B. You can always change 5 and 6. So 5 is King Drew. 6 is going to be Dorsey. I have Banning at 7. And for the one that I know will cause a lot of talk for the viewers, because if you're watching this, you're into high school football. I'm putting Hamilton High School, who was in Division 2 last year and went 2-9, as the 8th seed in the Open Division. I will definitely get into explaining myself for sure, because I'm sure there's a few question marks, but I'll let Coach Paul do his first.
Oh man, I'm pretty sure there's some people looking at this screen right now or looking at their whatever they're watching this on, going,
I
"What
just
the?
lost all credibility.
What are you doing? What you talking about, Jay Hamilton?" But you guys need to hear you guys are in, like, Jay didn't just throw them out there. Like Jay didn't just be like, "Yo, I want to troll everybody. Let me pick Hamilton." Like,
Mm-hmm.
I agree with his pick. It's not the same as mine, but I agree with it. All right, so this is 1 to 8. There's no I'm sorries. There's no nothings. It is what it is.
Nice.
I got Carson 1, Birmingham 2, San
Nice.
Pedro 3, Banning 4, King
Ooh.
Drew 5, Palisade 6, Dorsey 7, Eagle Rock 8.
Nice. Okay, so we'll start bottom to top. We'll talk, I guess this one's a little different since this is the only team or the only seeding where we have different teams. So you talk about Eagle Rock a little bit, why you put him in.
So
I obviously,
yeah.
yeah. Go ahead. Sorry,
No,
go
no,
ahead.
my fault. Eagle Rock was an easy choice to be at 8. They were the number one D1 team last year. They were ranked number 1 going into the playoffs. They
Yes.
ran into the team that went to the championship. They ran into Jack
Yeah.
Thomas. Like LP is the man. He was the number one rated quarterback as far as statistics go in the LA City section last year. The
Hmm.
kid is the dude at the helm. Like I know
Yep.
they lost the number one receiver, but like I think they have a replacement. So I honestly think that they have not like that's where they're gonna be. Like I think they make the push and they edge out a team like Hamilton, like who you have.
Yeah. That's a great choice. Honestly, I like just doing the cop out. My eight is really eight A and an 8B.
Oh,
Eagle
that's
Rock Eagle Rock
weak.
was so close, but I just put him in D1 for the sake of the show.
Okay.
And the reason I put Hamilton is mainly the idea of what Hamilton can be this year and what I know they'll be in 2 years. Because
Mm-hmm.
they'll 100% be in the Open in 2 years. That's a different conversation. But the reason I put him in this year is the idea of Hamilton and the pieces and their coach. The viewers who don't know, Coach Elijah Asante has been in the game decades. He rebuilt LA Jordan in the late 2010s. He rebuilt Carson. Some people don't know this. He beat Mater Day with Carson. Is it the Mater Day that we know now? No, but beating a Mater Day who was just starting out to become a power. I believe 2011, 2012 with the Carson team. I know it was a long time ago, but that's a great achievement. He coached in Georgia, I believe, and he's been around. The point is, he knows what he's doing, and he knows how to rebuild a program 100%. I remember when his hiring or when his schedule got released because it kind of made a little bit of news, you could say, when LA Times journalist Eric Sonnenheimer tweeted Hamilton will play the likes of Gardena Serra next year, of Loyola next year, who many teams in the city don't play because they just know it's probably going to be a blowout. Even the likes of a Birmingham and Carson probably won't schedule a team like Gardena Serra. So kudos to Coach Asante. So that's one of the reasons I put Hamilton up there is because he's going. It's not a matter if he's going to rebuild. It's when he's going to rebuild because I know
Right.
he's going to do it. And he has this famous quote that I love hearing. He said, I don't know when he said it, but he coined the phrase, I don't recruit, I attract. And it has
Yeah.
worked because as I mentioned in the beginning of the show, Tyler Oden is now at Dorsey. I know a couple other things that I won't say, but the big addition, the wild card that kind of I think single-handedly throws Hamilton into the Open division. Before I get to that, they also have Micah Butler, 3-star, 2 offers, I believe. Class of 27, D-tackle, offensive line, great player. Now, to my final point, and I think one of the biggest points, Hamilton will be getting, it's already confirmed, he's confirmed to his parents, the kid himself, class of 29, so an incoming freshman. Thaddeus Bro, quarterback, is going to be attending and playing for Coach Elijah Asante. Now, for all you guys who don't know Thaddeus Bro, he's going to be a future national recruit. And the only reason he's not a national recruit right now is because they don't give star rankings to freshmen. He goes to all the elite camps. A good comparison I like is him and Trevor Scott. Trevor Scott is another class of 29 QB, physically built the same, talent wise the same, and Trevor Scott's going to Mater Day. So that's the type of talent we're dealing with. Thaddeus Bro, and I'm not spilling any beans here. This was already spilt on the Coach JB show. So for context, Thaddeus Bro and his dad went on the Coach JB show and just talked about. I forgot what they talked about, but the title of the video was eighth grader turns down 20K from private schools to attend LA public school, and that's true. Thaddeus' dad or his parents, his support system, whatever, turned down a lot of big money from a lot of these big private schools in the southern section to go play at a Hamilton. The fact that these big private schools want a kid like Thaddeus Bro in their program means something, right? And he's
Right.
playing at Hamilton. And quite frankly, if he was even just a sophomore, he would have been my number one QB in the city section. The only reason I have him number 3 below Chris Fields and Jack Thomas is because he just hasn't played it down in high school football yet.
Yeah.
So I just can't put him at number one. But make no mistake, this kid will be a future 4-star, high-end 4-star, 5-star. I'm excited to see if he sticks it out with Asante because everyone knows how unpredictable it is these days with coaches leaving, players leaving, and whatnot. But yeah, even this kid as a freshman, he's gonna change everything. I don't want to go on too long because we have 7 other teams to go to, but he's the wild card that throws Hamilton in the open division for me.
Okay, I like it. So number 7, I have Dorsey.
We'll just go off your list and we'll just talk about each team. So let's talk about Dorsey next.
I got it. That's where I see him. Like even I have Deuce is a dog, man. Like Deuce alone is not gonna let them drop out of the open. Like I know Coach Johnson is doing his damn thing over there, but like his son is a tremendous athlete. Like him alone is a game changer. I think if they can get a couple more pieces over there, which we've talked about, like some have come, but some have also left.
Yeah, I'll get into that in a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I feel that this team has the ability to really, really make a solid run and open. Like if they get the right matchup and all cylinders are clicking, they could upset somebody in these playoffs, brother.
Yeah. Yeah. I had him 1 seed higher, but I think Dorsey is slowly making a comeback. It's just harder with where they are location wise. They're not in the best area, you could say, per se. Some parents might not want to send their kids there or whatever, low enrollment. But these dudes still have athletes. They have 2 Division I guys. Stephon Johnson Jr., a.k.a. Deuce Johnson, picked up off from Delaware State. They have a new quarterback, Elijah McDaniel, who I mentioned earlier in the episode, from Warren, is now going to be the new starting quarterback. But I do want to mention, the reason I didn't have him as maybe a 4th seed or a 5th seed is they have lost a few pieces. Like I mentioned, they lost LaShawn Jackson, who, if he was still in the city, he would have been the best lineman by far. He has the athleticism, size, everything. And they lost their starting linebackers, both to Inglewood. Saul Machado and Robert Nobles, I believe is how you pronounce his name. So they did lose 2 starting linebackers.
To the
but
same
they also,
school. Ouch.
Yeah. But they also brought in a decent amount. I don't have my spreadsheet on me, but off the top of my head, Aaron Moore, receiver from Hesperia, class of 28. Dyer, I don't know how to pronounce your first name. Dyer, you know who you are. He transferred in from View Park.
Yeah.
View Park isn't the best school, but he's a good athlete that was at View Park. And a quick side note, just to take it back to D2. View Park is very close to Crenshaw High School. View Park has dropped its football program for this upcoming season. So I'm not going to be surprised if I see a few of these View Park football players now at Crenshaw to give a little boost to Coach Garrett. But yeah, that's D2. I forgot to mention that, so it's a good thing I brought that up.
Yeah.
And then I know there's a few more pieces that Dorsey has added, but the last thing I'll end it off with Dorsey is they have one of the most slept-on athletes in the city section. And his name, he doesn't get enough recognition, I think just because he doesn't promote himself too much. He has a low-key Twitter profile. Makai McCluster. This guy's a dog, man. He's a dog, plays everything. Hard hitter, good size. I mean, he looks like one of the best players on the field when I was watching the Inglewood film. And Inglewood is a damn good school. So that's kind of where I have Dorsey.
Okay. So the next team, I got Palisades. So the reason why I put them at 6 and not 5 is obviously they lost King Drew. Now, Ja is no longer at King Drew.
Jamir Torres, yep.
Chin is no longer at King Drew.
Chin and Dylan Yagoro, yep.
Jack Thomas and this new acquired 4-star from Bishop
Jamar
Allen.
Dezern.
Yeah, there you go. They're about to be quite the tandem. Like you said, he is the biggest recruit right now. He's probably one of the biggest names in the city section right now.
He's the biggest. I'll flat out say he is the biggest.
Okay, so you say he's the biggest. Okay, you know what? I'll agree with that. Just based off his notoriety and where he's at right now, I will agree with that. So with him and Jack, you guys, like this offense is about to be explosive. And if you didn't catch what Jay said earlier. This young man that transferred in, he won the 100, like in CIF and state, right?
He broke the record too. Yes.
Broke the record. They are go deep.
Yeah,
Like if
he
all
has
else
go deep
fails,
speed.
I hope you bracket this young man because if you put him on one, if you put him one on one, I hope you have a dog at corner like that can go one on one with him. Because if not, it's a track meet. But overall, they're returning a majority of their team. But six, you don't go higher than the champs. I know the champs lost some key pieces, but I'm putting King Drew ahead of them based off they beat him in a championship. It could well be reversed, but yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what this Palisades team does. Man, it's gonna be kind of scary once they unleash it because honestly, I have Jack in the top three quarterbacks, top four quarterbacks of D1. Like, or even just in open. I mean, in LA City section, completely. I have Jack Thomas and actually, like Jack Thomas is like number 2 on my list.
Okay. Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just saying, there's no sugarcoating it. Like I there's only one person above him, and I'll get to him. But yeah, Jack's
Yeah.
number 2, but that's why they're at 6.
Yeah. I know who your number one is. We'll get to him very soon. I have him as my number one personally on my QB leaderboard, I guess
Yeah,
you
yeah,
could
yeah,
say.
yeah.
Coach Paul hit great points with Palisades. For context, like I said earlier, I have him as the 4th seed and he has him the 6th seed. I just think you combine the best quarterback in the city section with the best overall player in the city section at receiver. And let's not forget, he also plays DB. And one of the main critiques I had of the Palisades team last year is they were just missing an athlete in the secondary last year. That's why Jamir Torres went for a record-breaking 6 or 7 touchdowns. You know, sometimes athletes win you games, and DeMar DeZern is an athlete. I'm willing to bet there's only a very few I could count on one hand the amount of corners that could catch this kid on a deep route. And I'm gonna put a lot of money. This is gonna sound a lot of like shade, but I promise it's not. 1-on-1 deep route. This is the amount of DBs that can cover DeMar DeZern in the city section. I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it. Why I have him as 4 and not as a top 2 or 3 seed? I don't know how the rest of the roster fills out.
Right.
I know DeMar DeZern is going to get the double teams. He'll get the attention. So that will open up King Demetrius and Harrison Carter, who are 2 all-city returning receivers. Harrison Carter played running back, but Jack Thomas confirmed he will play a slot this year.
Right.
I just don't know how the rest of the roster fills out. They lost Jake Tribach, a senior linebacker last year. He really anchored the defense. And quite frankly, I don't know much about their D-line. I'm just going to shoot it straight.
Yeah.
So just that uncertainty, I'm not sure. And then the last point I will say, actually 2 last points, very fast. The second to last, Augie Evans. He's a 6'6" tight end. Not much film on him, but 6'6" tight end in high school is very, very, very useful. And I'm sure Jack will be able to find him a few times when DeMar and Harrison Carter are double teamed. So I have that. And then lastly, we all know the tragedy that happened with the Palisades fire at the beginning of the year. We're not even sure if Palisades will be back in school next semester or if they'll even be allowed to host home games at their home stadium, which is a beautiful stadium, by the way. That will motivate these kids and these coaches and the Palisades community more than ever because they have a community to represent and to make proud. And kids lost their homes. People in the community lost their family members. And it's a tough situation. I know these kids and these coaches want nothing more than to make Palisades proud. So that's also why I put him at 4. Just snuck him up a little bit.
Yeah. I like that, man. I didn't even take that aspect. I didn't see that. Like, if you think about it, a lot of teams, after something like that happens, they normally win it all.
Yeah.
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 Like
Won't
that
say much else, but I agree.
Most motivation comes from having something like that to drive you. That's pretty cool. So number 5, I have King Drew. King Drew, Coach Torres is a phenomenal coach.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's doing his thing over there. They could have gone, like, honestly, I could have put him higher, and I thought about it, but they don't have a quarterback. They have one. I'm not taking anything away from the kid. They have one, but I don't think, from what I've seen, that he's there yet. He could be. He very well could be. And I know underneath Coach Torres' stewardship and that staff, they'll develop this young man. But winning open this year, or like, I think 5 is a great place for them. I think they could be successful. I don't know if his development will be to where they need it to be by the time playoffs start. I hope it is. Because the kid's got tangibles. Like the kid is, I give Coach Torres kudos on being able to get this kid to his school. Like that was dope. Like from where he came from to where he's at now, that's dope. So I hope this kid develops into something and is able to lead a team like that, because their league's no joke. And based off of them winning D1 last year, if they have anything similar as far as a record goes, they're going to the Open and they will be ranked fifth or sixth. Like, we can flop however you want, but that's where
Yeah.
they're going to be. So, but that's why I have them at 5 and not higher, because some people are like I told somebody on my list earlier, just like, hey, what do you think? And they're like, why they at 5? Why are they not higher? And I was just like, bro, like, I don't know what this quarterback can do. And then they were just like, all
Yeah.
right, coach, you're right. So that's where I stand with that.
Yeah, I agree. We have the same team with King Drew. The quarterback, I'm not sure if he just transferred in, but he transferred in from Downey, class of 28. Elijah Juarez, he's very young.
Yeah.
And he does have the tangibles, but young quarterbacks are young quarterbacks.
Yep.
And this is not a knock at him at all, because in 2 years, so not this season, but the next,
Be the
I have a
man.
spoiler. Like, I'm going to have him as a contender, King Drew, because of what I know Coach Torres can do, how much young guys they still have. So class of 27 kids, the new freshman class coming in. And let's not forget, King Drew is going to be the only, I don't know if it's the only, but maybe the only team in the city section to field three, what's the word? 3 different levels.
Teams.
Frost
Yeah, 3
shop,
levels. Yeah.
JV, and the varsity team.
Right.
That doesn't happen in the 2020s anymore for a city section team. So
No,
he's
not at
building
all.
something great. I just think they're 1 year away from really, really being the top dog and the top contender to a Carson or a Birmingham. But that's not a shot. It's just 1 year away. The kids will come in. The kids will see King Drew's winning, and Coach Drew will attract a lot of talent. Attract, not recruit, because recruiting is illegal. Just in case any CIF people watching.
Right.
King Drew will attract a lot of talent. So that's what
To
I got on the King Drew.
So to piggyback off that, right? Like you say, 2 years, and I absolutely agree, because if you think about it, they have 3 levels: frosh, soft, JV, and varsity. So
Yeah.
you take obviously you're going to cherry pick all the kids that are like supposed to be on varsity. They go to varsity. No matter what grade they're in, they're on varsity.
Yeah.
Now you have a JV team. You can literally take all your juniors that would not get playing time on varsity and make them your JV team. You now can take your freshmen, the sophomores that you feel are that can play at the JV level. You'll put them on the JV level, obviously. Like, you have that room to play. But the one thing that they're going to be so far ahead of the game is they can take their freshman team and they can go to all Southern section schools and get a game.
Yep.
You now have a freshman sophomore development. Oh my God. Like,
it's just starting too. Yeah.
The ability to have that, like, you can go get 5 preseason games, but then there's schools that are like, well, I'm missing a game, and your JV team may not be missing a game. Now you put your frosh soft team against a JV team that needs a game and see how they fend against them.
Yeah.
Like, that developmental part, it's
going to be perfect. And and like we're stating, like, it's 1 year away from really just King Drew being the top dog. And the last thing before we move to our next seed, losing Jamir Torres, who was at University of New Mexico now, and a 4-star edge, Chinedu Onyegoro, who's at UNC, about to be coached by the GOAT, Bill Belichick. Losing 2 high major D1 guys like that, it's hard to replace. So I think that's a good stopping point for King Drew. And let's head on to the next team.
All right. So number 4, I put here, and it was mostly because I talked to you. Like, I didn't even, I had you at the bottom of the list. Like, I'm not going to lie. I had you at the bottom of the list. And it's only because I feel you've lost. Like, it's a rebuild. Now, you didn't lose anything. I feel it's a rebuild for you. So it was one of those things where it was the floor was high D1. The ceiling is where you're at. Like, the ceiling is 4. So I'm going to let you elaborate more on batting, because you were like, the conversation we had, like I said, I felt it was a rebuild year, but your points to this team are what I feel our viewers and our listeners will really appreciate. So go ahead and talk about it, Jay.
Yeah. So Coach Paul has batting at 4. I have him at 7. The reason I have him at 7 is because, similarly to King Drew, they lost their main guy to graduation. Stephen Perez, who's not Wyoming. Quite frankly, he was their offense. There was a reason this kid won Player of the Year for the Open Division last year, because he's a damn good player, but he was also the whole offense. Not their whole offense, because that's taken away from the other players, but he was a huge part of the offense. Being in Wildcat, playing linebacker, playing safety, and the whatnot. I'm just not sure. Actually, I'm really not sure. I could probably check on Max Preps and just see who. I don't know who their quarterback is going to be. I just don't know. And you need, especially in the open, if you want to compete, you're going to need a quarterback because every team we've talked about so far as a quarterback, Palisades, King
Absolutely.
Drew, even though the King Drew quarterback is young, Hamilton, who I just went on a 5 minute rant about their quarterback. I'm
Right.
not sure who their quarterback will be, and they also have Nate Hollister, new head coach. So the Raymond Grajeda, Coach Garibay, I believe is how you pronounce his name, an assistant coach. They're no longer there. So it's
Okay.
a bit of a new regime. But Nate Hollister, I was talking to somebody on Twitter a while ago, and like similarly to Coach Vargas at Garfield, Hollister wanted this job. Like I believe it's his alma mater. If it's not his alma mater, he has a connection to Banning.
Okay.
He wants this job. Just it's the uncertainty that had me at 7, losing Stephen Press, not being sure about their quarterback. I know they have athletes. They always have athletes, especially the trenches. That's where I feel the most confident about these guys. They probably have one of the best trench group in the city section. Hernandez, 6'5", 260, 270. And obviously the guy for them, Cody Galloway,
Right.
who quite frankly is being slept on in my opinion. Class of 27 edge. How he only has one Division I offer from Fresno State and not 3 or 4 from a UCLA who's showing heavy interest. I don't know, but they will come, so I'm not worried about that. Their
Yes, they
trench game,
will.
their trench game is A1. They'll dominate the trench, and if not dominate, they'll play a very hard game for any team. So that's why I have them at 7. But they could be higher based on their strength of schedule.
Right.
They're going to play a few good Southern Section teams. I can't name them off the top of my head, but I know they play 2 or 3 very good Southern Section teams.
Right. It was as you were talking, like, so the viewers may be looking as I'm looking down. I'm trying to find like the conversation we were having to where it was the flop of where it was either I had him at the bottom of the list or I had him at the middle, and you just touched on it. It was because of strength of schedule. Like I was trying to because I know some people may be like, Paul, Coach Paul, you're talking about it's a rebuild year for him, but you have them at 4.
Yeah.
Well, I had them at the latter part. Like I had them at 8, like 7 or 8, I think. But if we're talking strength of schedule and they're able to maneuver and make it happen, they're going to be at 4. So that's a little bit of context for people who are like, well, if you feel it was a rebuild, yes, I did feel it was a rebuild, but talking to Jay and looking at the facts of strength of schedule and stuff like that, that they have the ability to be 4. That's where I'm at with that. So number 3, we all know San Pedro. You give your take on San Pedro because I have mixed feelings. They're solid. They're solid, and they're a solid 3. But go ahead and give your take.
Yeah. Shout out to San Pedro. Bit of a side note. Their players show me the most love on Twitter. Always in my mentions. I'll be at this camp. Good work today. Highlights from my 7-on-7 and the whatnot, or offers or whatnot.
Right.
Shout out to them, and shout out to Jamal Street, who's I believe is like a freelance reporter and whatnot for the South Bay. So he's heavily involved with Pedro. But when it comes to their team, very, 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 I like their team reflects their head coach, Corey Walsh. He's a very hard-nosed, serious, well-mannered, controlled guy. But he's not like a dictator, you could say. Like you could joke around with him. I had the pleasure of chopping it up, just a few words with him at the Carson Showcase in May. He's a great guy. And when it comes to the players on the team, they return a good amount of players. I am really high on Seth Solorio.
Yes.
Who will take the reins because he kind of split the job with Geronimo last year at QB, who was a senior. So Solario, who was still a 27, so he's going to be a junior. He'll still have time to ball out, and this will be his first season with the keys in his hands. Essentially, he played at Bosco his first year. So he played at Bosco his first year. Yes, it was lower level, but Bosco at any level is really good. They also have now the best lineman with LaShawn Jackson gone, the best lineman in the city, David Medina. I mean, this kid is a dog. If he's not 5'10", 5'11", just give him 2 more inches in height, no doubt in my mind he would be on 24/7 Sports, Rivals, and whatnot.
Yes.
But even with that, I'm still very, very confident that D1 offer will come. He's a class of 27, so he still has 2 years. Talent-wise alone, he stood out at the showcase. He was putting kids on their asses, pancakes, everything.
Yes, sitting on their pockets.
Yeah, and then the last stand that I'll mention is their main guy on offense, Elias Redlew. 2 Division I offers, passes the eye test. When I saw him at the showcase, he was all of 6'2", 180. Super fast, Route running, not the best, but it's not bad whatsoever. Very, very good. It's just because I hold Elias to a very, very high standard.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying his route running is bad in any way. So Seth and Elias they'll be the duo for Pedro. And some
Okay.
people tend to forget that Elias Redlew put I believe Ernest Nunley pretty much in a blender for the first 3 quarters in that city championship game against Narbonne. Yes, I know the score got out of hand, but Elias Redlew won his matchup that day.
Yes, he
And
did.
Ernest Nunley is now at Western and had a crazy summer, is now a bunch of Division One offers. Point is, Pedro is a well-disciplined team, and they just have very, very good players at every position, with a few very
Facts.
standouts that I just mentioned.
So I agree with everything you said as far as like the reason why they're the solid three is because they are the direct reflection of their coach.
Mm-hmm.
They are their coach to a T. Like
Yep.
this is a great program. But you talked about Mr. Redlew. I gotta talk about Kayshawn Davis and hold on, where is it at? And Jackson Brown.
Jackson, yeah, okay.
These two young men are about to surprise this. They're going to surprise some people. Now, those two, like, these are defensive players. I'm a defensive coach. So
Yeah.
having two studs like these two kids, oh my, I'm excited to see what San Pedro can do. Like, I know what they're up against. But with those, like with the two names I mentioned, the two names you mentioned, and them just being a team and being unified like they have a really good chance. It's just the two teams in front of them are just.
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right, number two. I'm gonna let you talk about that. I'm gonna let you talk about them because
Yeah.
this is yours. Like this is we both had them like we have them flopped, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna talk about my number one. I'll let you talk about your number one. So
Yeah.
we're gonna talk about Birmingham. Go ahead.
Birmingham, or prior to last season when they ran into Narbonne, open division titles in a row. Would have been 5. COVID never happened, quite honestly. I had them at my number one. Coach Paul has them at the number 2 spot. And the way I've always kind of thought about Birmingham, a little more of a kind of like a Southern section school when I say a lot of kids go to that school to play football. Not all the kids, but a lot of kids who are football players at Birmingham, especially on that varsity roster, go to Birmingham specifically for football. Compare that to, I'll use my alma mater as an example, Taft. We had 2 to 4 guys who were on my team throughout my whole high school career who went to Taft specifically for football. And then compare that to Birmingham, where you have probably close to 70 or 80. They're just a well-oiled machine. Coach Jim Rose knows how to play, knows how to schedule tough teams, and knows how to essentially keep his team motivated in non-league. When I say that, I mean that because sometimes you could be a bit calm, like, oh, we're going to play this team, we're going to play this team. Coach Rose somehow always motivates these teams, and that's why you see the score always 40-0, 50-0 in non-league. And that's just the way it is. And when it comes to the roster specifically, as Coach Paul knows, Kevin Hawkins, back class of 26, he will be their main guy. A bit of a side note, I'm also interested to see if they kind of rotate between Daniel Kakuza, who will be a sophomore, so he's a class of 28, who played the first 4 or 5 games, I believe 4 games last season because Kevin had a sit-out period.
Right.
I'm interested to see if they kind of bit of a 2-man system. Whoever they go
Okay.
with it's a great choice. Kevin Hawkins. If you want to talk about somebody who passes the eye test, he passes the eye test. He's built like Cam Newton in high school, 6'5", 6'6", 220, 230. And then we talk about in a big addition, as I mentioned, Paul Turner Jr., wide receiver, class of 27, one Division One offer. He will add a lot of. It'll be super dynamic. I'll say that
Okay.
because last year Birmingham was definitely a bit more of a run-heavy team. Having this guy, Paul Turner Jr., Jimmy Rentero is another receiver coming back, and their line. I've always loved Birmingham's linemen because they're always like 5'10" to 6'1". Not the biggest lineman you could
Yeah.
say, but man, these kids are dog or red. Like you can
Oh,
tell, like a lot of those kids
high
wrestle,
motor.
and it checks out because Birmingham has a great wrestling program.
Oh,
A standout name on the O line, left tackle Pablo Granados. He's probably the anomaly when it comes to size, 6'4", 6'5", 270.
yeah.
He'll be great. And then on the D line, I gotta give love to Isaiah Willoughby. I believe is how you pronounce his last name. He played at Chaminade his first year, transferred over last season to Birmingham. He's a dog, man. High motor, not the biggest, but man, he'll get past you, swim move, a rush move, whatever it is. And the way I've always liked to think about Birmingham is they have an above average player at every position with a few superstars. And the superstars this year can be Kevin Hawkins, Pablo, Isaiah, Paul, et cetera, et cetera. I didn't even mention Braylon Morgan, who's a class of 27 running back. He will be very, very good. So on top of the prestige that they have, winning 4 in a row, 4 of the last 5. I mean, they had a whole graduating class that didn't know what it was like to lose a city section game, and that is insane to think about. Yeah. So that's my little ramble on Birmingham. As everyone knows, they have a gauntlet of a non-league, 5 Southern Section schools. I'm excited. I'm hoping to see 2 or 3 wins. I don't really like seeing donuts in their non-league schedule, but sometimes it happens because they schedule like a Chaminade or whatnot. But that's what I have on Birmingham. Well-oiled machines, legacy, prestige, and the talent to do so for them. That's why they're my number 1.
Nice. That's so this is my number 1. As you know, I picked Carson, and for a lot of the reasons why you picked Birmingham is the reason why I picked Carson. Now we know that Birmingham is the reigning. It's their division to lose. Yeah. But with everything that I've seen since last season's playoffs, dude, I'm just gonna name some names. So that Kingston Sulua, I hope I didn't Sula. You got Malcolm Allen. You have Johnny Calhoun. You have Xavier Allen.
Oh, quick note. Sorry, Johnny Calhoun is at Southeast now.
Oh, he left.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he ever checked into Carson, but he posted about it. But
okay, so even if Johnny's not there, you still got Xavier Allen. You got Troy Taulua. You got Titus. Is it Salagai? Salaji?
I have no clue.
Hey,
something like that.
Titus, my guy. Yeah, I'm sorry I'm slaughtering your name. But like I said earlier, it's 2 words, 1 name. Chris Fields. Chris Fields, by far, is going to be the best quarterback in the city section this year. I love Matt Gonzalez, who's my quarterback. I respect the hell out of Jack Thomas. I respect the hell out of Mr. Hawkins, like Kevin Hawkins. I respect you guys. Liam, Diego, all of you. I'm not even sorry to say this. This young man, his work ethic, the commitment, the leadership, the hunger he has. Chris Fields is going to be the best quarterback in LA City section this upcoming year. And if they lose, it's by no fault of his own, because it's not just him, but everybody will blame the quarterback. But let me tell you something. If they win it, it's because of him. Because if you're on Carson and you hear me talking right now as a player, don't think, well, it's not just Chris. No, it's not just Chris. But Chris is your quarterback.
Yeah.
And his leadership, we had him on the show. His maturity, man, like, this young man has the keys to the city. Like, this kid can take it all the way. Like, it's crazy. And like, I'm looking at their preseason, like, it's Villa Park, Dorsey, Palos Verdes, Huntington Park, North, and then St. Pius. And then they go into their league. And then they go into their league. I'm telling you, like, it's going to be Birmingham versus Carson for open. And if it's somebody else, then you just had a better game, more power to you. But solely alone, like I said, Chris Fields is the man, dude. Like, I respect the hell out of that young man. Shout out to his mom's always retweeting our stuff.
Yeah.
Like, we support her son. We support the program. Like, but I honestly think, like, it's going to be Birmingham versus Carson. It's going to be a legit showdown. And just to be a fan of football, like, I hope Carson's able to pull it off. Like, they are the underdog, even though they're the number one. Like, I have them as the number 1 ranked team. So that's where I'm at with it, because, like, with all the pieces around Chris, like, there's no reason. It's the Eagles versus the Chiefs, bro. Like, for reals. And both of them have tremendous head coaches. Like, these guys are gurus. Yeah. So it's gonna be an amazing season, and open should be very exciting. But that is why I picked Carson for my number 1 seed.
Yeah, to speak on Carson, and then we'll end it off here. We've been talking for an hour and a half. Great episode. Yeah, let me finish this Carson bit, and then we can log off for the night. But
yes, sir.
When it comes to Carson, it's also like a 1A, 1B. The reason I put Birmingham 1A is simply prestige and history, recent history. If you win it 4 in a row, you'll get the benefit of the doubt. But when it comes to Carson, like, And I've been saying this since last season at the beginning of the playoffs. I was saying last season that next year, which is this up and coming season, Birmingham and Carson seem like they're on a crash course to meet next year in the final or the semi, depending on the seedings or whatever. And so, yeah, I feel like it's as much as we've talked about the other teams, it really seems like it's just destined to be Birmingham and Carson. King Drew is a year away. Hamilton's a year away. Palisades very, very good. Like there's a lot of teams that can surprise, but it seems like it's written in the stars that it's going to be a Carson Birmingham final. And if it's not a final, a Carson Birmingham matchup, whoever wins that is going to be the champion. Maybe if they meet in the semis or whatever.
I think no. I think it'll be a final because I'm looking at the schedule, right? And again, not taking anything away from anybody, but Gardena, I see them beating Gardena. I see them beating Banning, Norbonne, obviously. The matchup against San Pedro is always a good one. It's the last game of the season, right? Mm-hmm. But the cool thing about that is if they're the number 2 seed, they don't have, unless who did you have who at 7?
I have Banning at 7.
Okay, so then it's another league matchup, or they face my team, Dorsey. They're not gonna go from a heavyweight fight to another heavyweight fight right away. Like, I'm not saying Banning is not a heavyweight fight, but they're not San Pedro and they're not Birmingham.
So like it can happen. Maybe they meet in the semis, but it seems destined they'll be the 1 and 2 seed. They'll meet in the final.
Yeah.
And when we talk about players, I won't talk about Chris Fields. Coach Paul, Chris Fields is a great player. Coach Paul talked about it. They also have 6 guys with D1 offers, and that's a lot for a city team. Craig Walker has, I don't even know, 6 or 7. Benny Salter, I don't know how to say your last name. Sorry, Benny. Class of 28 DB, super lengthy, will be a very good recruit. Kingston Sula, no D1 offer yet, but he will be a D1 guy, only going to be a sophomore. The Allen brothers, Malcolm and Xavier, both have D1 offers. Michael Odell, another Division 1 offer. And Titus and Troy Titus, Troy, and Benny make up probably one of the best DB rooms in the city. Probably the best. There's so much talent right there in that room. So much athleticism. The only slight edge I give to Birmingham is just the trenches, because they're gonna have a lot more experience. Birmingham has Jonathan Rivera, who will be a team captain, class of 26. He's returning all city. Like athlete, like Carson, they might have the edge. And the coaching staff, they brought in, they let go of essentially most of the coaching staff. Christensen, enjoy retirement, Mike Christensen. I hope you're doing well. A lot of assistant coaches. And this William Lowe is their new head coach. He was at Rancho Christian, I believe, or Ontario Christian. What's up?
Ontario Christian? Where's that at? Is that in the IE?
I think it's in the IE. Rancho or Ontario Christian. One of the two. I know it's a Christian.
Okay.
You always get it mixed up. And he brought over his assistant.
Today?
Hey, man. Carson's been an attractive job for a few years. And then he brought over his assistant coach.
Nice.
Coach E, Edward Humphreys. I talk to Coach E every now and then. He's a great guy. He does an amazing job at promoting his players on Twitter. And yeah. It's high school football, so we can't be too analytical. So that's why I say whoever has the most talent wins a lot of the times. That's why Bosco and Mater Dei have won for the past 10 years, because they have the most talent. It's not a knock on the coaches. It's just at the high school football level, talent wins you a lot more games than college and the pros. And the last thing I will say, just to wrap it up, the returning players for Carson are going to have a super, super sour taste in their mouth from last season, because these guys, Carson, that I'm talking about, were up 3-4 scores on San Pedro in the semifinal heading into the third quarter. And then ultimately San Pedro makes a 30-point comeback and they win by 1 score in overtime, or maybe the end of regulation. When we interviewed Chris all those months ago, it was clear Chris still thought about that matchup. And when you lose tough games, you're always going to think about it. So I know the returners, basically the whole team is returners. So I know all that team is going to have a sour taste in the mouth, and they're going to want to prove people wrong. My voice is starting to hurt. We've been here for an hour and a half. Do you have any last things? That's kind of what I have on the open division.
I don't really have anything else, man. Like, this has been a great convo. This has been a great episode. Sure. So for all our viewers and our listeners, we thank you for tuning in, staying in with us an hour and a half. I know some of you guys are probably going to hit us up, but feel free. Just if you disagree with us, the only thing I ask is be respectful. Like, we were respectful the way we delivered our message to you guys. We're open. We're open. Our inboxes are open. We're very we're very down to earth people. Like we will have a discussion with you. Who knows? Our discussion could lead to you coming on the show, and we could have this a public discussion and see what we gain from each other. But in more exciting news, Jay, we have another surprise episode coming out soon with a special guest. We can't wait to have Mark the Shark, our San Gabriel Valley guru.
Yeah,
We're still working on Mr. Tariq Patel. I'm gonna
yeah.
publicly say, man, like I wish our schedules could have aligned to have you
Yeah,
on the
for
show.
sure. For sure.
Hopefully you see this, and I'm gonna keep texting you, man. Like,
Sorry.
yeah,
We're
I'm
gonna have you
sorry,
on,
but not
Tarek.
sorry. Like, I'm not gonna bug you, but I'm just gonna
Yeah.
be like, hey, what's up, man? What's up? You wanna get on the show? But Jay, I talk to you every week, man. Like, and we text all the time. So
Yeah.
to all our viewers, Jay, I'll see you in a phone call probably tomorrow or something.
Yeah, very
But to
soon.
all our viewers, we love you. We miss you. Thank you for tuning in for this special summer kickoff. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Hit the notification button. Shout out to our sponsor, Never Waivers Apparel.
Shout out.
Let's go Southgate football.
Let's go.
Hey, but until next time, hey, y'all be easy. Peace.
Peace.